Okay, tonight we want to talk about Holy Week and the cancellation of it. There is no Holy Week this Holy Week coming up, which is to me a cardinal sin, possibly. No pun intended. But we want to get more into that. But I want to just bring up a bishop who is doing something. We're with the coronavirus. There's so much going on with that. They want to, get rid of the holiest week of the year. But Bishop Marian Eleganti, and I just want to bring him up here for a minute. He's the auxiliary bishop of Switzerland, Bill, and he was silenced. He was silenced by his bishop because he had said that the coronavirus could not spread through the Eucharist, that there would be no way that Christ would allow that. And I thought that was an interesting take on his thoughts with the Eucharist there.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is it's a tricky situation. I mean, there are arguments for and against such a proposition. There are many that they want to pull out part 3, question 83, I think it is, of St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica, that would be in their favor for why you could be poisoned by this. I tend to, not 100%, but I tend to veer towards Bishop Eleganti's approach. I don't think if you approach His Majesty in the Eucharist in faith, in a state of grace, I tend to believe that he will protect you, which is not to say, to be clear, that you can't get sick. I'm not saying that, but
now, has there ever been a case? Has there ever been a case in church history where someone actually got sick or got a virus or something from the Eucharist? I've never heard of it.
To my knowledge, no, it's never happened. And more to the point, as far as all the church closings and what's going on in Italy and now in America, as I've pointed out to numerous people, it's funny, this didn't happen during the Black Death, did it? It didn't happen during numerous other plagues in human civilization.
Right. So yeah, the Black Death, of course, that wiped out 2/3 of Europe or something. We have the coronavirus, which is small scale. We don't want it to get into anything like that. But I guess the point, and we've got Holy Week coming up. We've got the holiest time of the year. This is a time to show our faith. This is a time maybe to do smaller masses. In Poland, they're getting 50 or 60 people together for a mass, which might not be a bad idea, because then you have a small group, small dishing out of the Eucharist and stuff like that. But you do a lot of masses, okay? Maybe that's a solution too. I think we need to get creative here. We're just saying, we're putting a kibosh on Holy Week and everything that our faith stands for.
No, and I think that what the bishops in Poland are doing, I think, is absolutely brilliant. I do not believe for a moment that the answer is to close the churches or to do away with Mass or even adoration, for that matter. What they're doing with the extended amount of Masses, so that it's more Masses but less people. And listen, I'm all for practicing social distancing, okay? So that none of us get this or none of us infect other people. I'm all for that. I think they may have the right answer. More Masses, we're all kind of spread apart, but we are still there to come and worship the Lord. And quite frankly, that is what we need most right now. It's not less God, it's more God. That's what we need. He's speaking right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, at this time is when we need to call upon our faith, upon our Lord. This is a time to become holy, the sacrifice, everything. I thought it would be a really great testimony on the part of the church to say, coronavirus or not, nothing's going to stop us in Holy Week, and everything that Christ did. This is everything, the total foundation of our faith. But now, maybe there's too. Do you think there's too much humanism in our faith today? Too much scientific knowledge, too much human knowledge, and kind of the supernatural has just gotten, thrown to the side.
Well, I don't think there's too much of that in the faith. I think we're letting that stuff, which is outside the faith, in my opinion, cloud our faith. Now is not the time to. Obviously, even the church has always been a big proponent of science. I mean, it was a Catholic priest that came up with the Big Bang Theory, for heaven's sake. So I'm all for science, and so is the church. But there is a point at which science, being the lowest of the three sciences, clouds our faith. It obscures our faith. It hinders our ability to have faith. Right now is the time we need God most. And now is the time that we need the Eucharist the most. We should be on our knees before Him in
And it's a
adoration
great
during
testament to
Mass.
God. It's just an absolute great testament to our faith as well to say, hey, we're not going to be stopped by a coronavirus or anything. The faith is more important to us than anything. So that to me is, kind of one of the problems I have with this whole thing where, are we putting our faith on the back burner, a sign of the times type of thing, could be. There is one other thing I'll just mention here quickly, and I don't know if we have it on the screen or not, but it's the verse of Daniel, the book of Daniel. Well, very, very interesting, Bill, where they talk about desolation, abomination, but they also talk about the daily sacrifice, which we know is a typology going back to the Eucharist. The early church fathers and everybody referenced it that way. And aren't we kind of having the daily sacrifice abolished during this corona virus?
Yeah, absolutely we are. I mean, it's mentioned twice. It's Daniel chapter 12, chapter 8, and they speak about the daily sacrifice being abolished, which if you know anything about the history of the church, many of the fathers interpreted that as communion, the Eucharist, the abolishment of the daily sacrifice. I'm not going to go out on a limb here and go so far as to say that we are living in the book of Daniel. I think at minimum, it is a dress rehearsal. I think this is a shot across our bow. Somebody is saying, wake up because something else will come. This is just getting you ready. It's getting you warmed up.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to agree with you too, because the sign of the times, we go into the Bible where Jesus talks about wars, rumors of wars. We've had 2 world wars back to back not that long ago, really. Fatima has talked about, the second coming of Christ. There's just been so many references. This book of Daniel, too, when the daily sacrifice is abolished. Or, abolished, you can actually use the word, not permitted or not being able to consume and stuff like that. So it's all very interesting. Or suspended, exactly. So maybe that would be something we'll touch on a little bit more with the next video. But for tonight, we just want to give our prayers and ask everyone, be safe and keep the faith and keep praying. And we will see you all very soon. God bless.